name of Allah, the Beneficent and Merciful, the one God who is the sender of all prophets, the sender of all truths. We thank Him for Moses and the Torah. We thank Him for Jesus and the Gospel. We thank Him for Muhammad and the Holy Quran. Being a student of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I cannot thank Allah enough for intervening in our affairs in the person of Master Fuad Muhammad and raising for us a leader, teacher, and guide, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and for them too leaving us the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I greet you in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. For those of you who may be unfamiliar with those words, it simply means peace be unto you. Again, my name is Jimmy Muhammad. I am the local representative of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan here in Pine Bluff. I would be remiss if I did not recognize the individuals that are here with us today. Reverend Turner, we thank you for your presence. Alderman Steve Mays and Brown, thank you for standing with us. Pastor McCullough, thank you. And Ms. Adams, thank you so much for your kind words. Pastor Fleming, thank you, sir. And Bishop Sanders, we thank you for all of your help and thank you for being here today. I would be remiss if I did not recognize Brother Leotis, who is the individual who helped to start Islam here in Pine Bluff. For me, as a young man of only 33 years old, to stand here over a whole city and represent the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I have to pay homage where homage is due, and we thank you for your presence and still standing with us. Why are we here? Why did we decide to call a press conference? Why do you have so many people in the middle of the day standing alongside us today? Well, one of the things that we look at is what's been happening. And one of the precipitating events that happened was the death of our dear sister, Vanessa Beard. It was due to violent crime. And before I get any further in, I want to recognize Sister Hagar X, who is right here in the green. She lost a son due to violent crime. So we want you to understand today that it hits home to us. And we thank you for standing with us and making certain that no other mother goes through what you go through. In our city has a lot of potential. We have one of the greatest universities, in my opinion, in the United States. We have great leadership, as you can see by our aldermen that are behind me, and our distinguished mayor, police chief, fire, and others. We have a city of roughly 55,000 people. However, with the great leadership, the great opportunity, the great school, we also have some other major issues. One of the major issues is the crime rate here in Pine Bluff. The murder rate in Pine Bluff is almost 4 times the national average per capita. What that means is per 100,000 people, you have a certain rate of murder, and we are 4 times the national average. As it relates to forcible rape, we are 2.5 times the national average. As it relates to robbery, we are 1.5 times the national average. Aggravated assault, we are almost 2 times the national average. And all violent crimes, we are almost 2 times the national average. So when you wake up in the morning and you read the newspaper and you see these various atrocities, you see death and violent crime, one would be remiss if he cared about his family and the condition of his people if he didn't ask the question, who's going to do something about that? And then one would be remiss if he didn't look in the mirror and say, well, if not me, then who? And if not now, then when? And I'm glad that individuals decided to do that and forced us to come on out here and have a press conference concerning it. We have various community leaders here. Most are from religious institutions, but I will make this statement. Religion, as it is now, has failed our community. What do I mean by that? I mean the mosque has failed, the temple has failed, the church has failed in its current application. Because we as religious leaders have been preaching to the choir or to the already converted. The members of our community on their way to church or their way to the mosque or their way to the synagogue step over the individuals who need our help the most on the way to come in the doors. What that means is, well, there's a law. For every cause, there's an effect. Every time we pass by someone, we allow them not to hear a word that may change their life. And if it does not change their life, it may cause them to lose their life. So the deaths that have been caused and the violent crime that's been caused in Pine Bluff, we have to take responsibility for, because we're the one charged by God to change our community. So that's the reason we're here today, to draw a proverbial line in the sand and say in our community, this can't continue to happen without us doing something. But what are we armed with? We're armed with love, attention, compassion for the people, but we are also armed with knowledge of self. Why is knowledge of self so important? Well, let me help you out here. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that every time he looked at a black man, he looked at God. The reason that was so important and resonated with us is because the way we looked at each other. And the way we looked at each other was inferior. We looked at him, that's my dog. That's my this, that's my that. However, we did not look at him in his true potential. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad reversed the dog and said God. So as we look at another black man, we see God. It's hard to aim a gun at God. It's hard to stab a knife to God. It's hard to fight your brother if you think he's God. So what we want to do is we want to help to rebuild respect in our communities. We want to give our people an individual respect for themselves through the knowledge of themselves. That is very important. There is no self-respecting Jew who does not know about the Holocaust. There's no self-respecting Italian, Arab, or various others who do not know their history. And so we want to make certain that we know our history. We want to make sure that we help to give knowledge of ourselves, and that we also help to change the condition of our people. One of the things that sticks with me the most that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said is that one cannot change his or her condition, or God will not change his or her condition until they make an effort to change their own condition. Well, I interpret that to say God will not change the condition of our community just by us staying in the mosque and praying, us being in the church and praying. But now we got to get up and do something. So we made a statement to the world that we're going to get up and do something. And we want you, the community, to hold us accountable for doing what we say we're going to do here today. And we want you to understand that we're going to be coming. And we're going to be knocking on doors. And we're going to be asking you to do things that you may be uncomfortable with. However, we want to say that we believe it's for your own benefit. And it's not just a Muslim thing. It's not a Christian thing. Different bodies here have different resources that can help our community. So we're going to organize those resources, and you may go to whatever group that you feel comfortable with and get whatever resources you need. But we're saying today that we're here for you, and we want to stop the violent crime in our community. Thank you for your time, your interest, and I greet you as I came before you in the beginning in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, this will conclude our press conference. Are there any questions for any of us? Okay, we thank God for you all coming in. And this is the beginning of a new partnership, pen and pencil, writing a new history in Pine Bluff. Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Hey, real nice to meet you. Take care. You know, everything well in your district? What do they call it? Ward. Yes, sir. We'll call you probably for something. Thank you. Real nice. Nice to see you. Yeah, I did. Just a reminder of what you do. Thank you, brother. Oh, no problem. Yes, I will. Yes, thanks for getting invited. Yes, sir. You want that water now? Not good to me.